You are listening to Beyond Believing. I am your host, Katie Ann. I am a certified life coach, and at the end of my show, I'll share more information about how I can help you one-on-one and how we can get in touch. The following episode is the second part of my interview with my new friend, Christian BARR from the BARR+FRIENDS podcast. Enjoy.
Do you want to get remarried? And from your past marriage, what are some things that you could do differently?
Yeah. And that's like, actually, there was like a year or two period where I thought about that before I even left. I was like, what would I want to do differently?
Right.
If I were to leave and I would want to have a different marriage, I have to create that here first. I have to do everything I possibly can to do that here first. And so I did what I was like, okay, I can humble myself. I need to be like, what kind of wife do I want to be? What kind of mom do I want to be? I'm going to be that wife and that mom. If I would be anybody different for anybody else, I have to give it to him first. And so I did. And that was like a year and a half, 2 years of me like really trying to be the best wife, the wife that I knew I could look at myself at the end of the day and I'd be like, I know I gave my best today. I know I did my very best for him. And like, I didn't get it perfect every day, but I learned to start like apologizing. I learned to start like accepting like, hey, maybe I misunderstood. I learned to start like reflect. I learned communication skills. I learned some other things, and I think now I was initially really excited to like have this like healthy relationship I'd created in my mind. Like, this is the healthy relationship I really want. And I gotta say, the more that I dated, the less excited I am about that. In fact, not because men are bad. Not because
I get
men
you.
are bad, but
I get you.
because, like, I actually have more faith and trust in men than I ever have before. Like, I really think there are really amazing God-loving men out in the world. And at this point, like, let's be honest, we all got baggage. Like, there's no 40-year-old walking around that doesn't have some baggage or trauma or something really difficult that they're trying to work through and trying to figure out. And I don't think there's a person out there that's got it figured out. I don't think there's a person out there that's like fully healed from everything yet. Like, I don't. So I don't expect perfection from anybody. But what I've learned to understand, and what I shared on my Yoked with God podcast, is that in this season, I was actually reading in Paul, and he was talking about being single versus being married. And this is a foreign concept to me, that being single is anything to be excited about. Okay, so I'm like, I was like, but it's the fourth or fifth time I've read this, and it just re-hit me this last time that like Paul is saying there's something really beautiful and amazing in being an individual and being just with God. And I think that I always looked at marriage as being a fulfillment of my identity.
Come on.
Yeah. And I think I finally learned to let that go. And so that when you let that go, it's like, who's going to top God as a husband? I don't know.
And I want to interrupt because people be like, oh, well, Christ is my boyfriend. No. You're taking it out of context. Like, you understand that he is your all in all. You know what I'm saying? Because people be going crazy, especially in the Christian community. Like, oh my gosh, for Valentine's Day, he's my husband, and it's great. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a good caveat, because like those are things I don't think about. It's like new realizations for me and new understanding, like how I've started to read my Bible as, how does Christ love the church? What are his attributes as the bridegroom? And then I was like, in turn, Christ has expectations for the church. And I can't expect to find a husband with these attributes if I'm not exhibiting the attributes he would be seeking out. So I think in this season of like Genesis is like refining me to really be a person that could be the recipient of that. Like how, and quite honestly, like relearning what love is, like what is love and how to receive love. Cause I've never received love in a healthy manner. And that I think learning that from God is like, okay, I don't know about that, but I'm going to need a minute. But, so I think it's just like, cause I've dated, I have, and I've been in relationships, and somehow there's just like trickling patterns that I still am repeating. And so I'm like, I really think I'm good. I really think I'm good. And that like piece, I did have this realization, like just because someone thinks I'm everything they want or that I'm somebody they really want to be with doesn't mean I have to feel the same way about them. And so if I haven't like felt that, I get to be like, no. Like, what? So I'm practicing that. Like right now, I'm like, God is the prize. And I'm just like, what's like, just align my will to yours, Lord. Like, yours is my heart. Like, I'm going to mess this up and I do. And I get it wrong along the way. And I'm like, okay, well, that was me thinking I had it all figured out. That's what I was doing today. I'm like, okay, so clearly, okay, still learning, and that's okay. So, but that's like what I shared on my episode, Joked with God, is I think that nobody's perfect, but you will know who's striving and who has some kind of measure of their own that they're
That's
trying
good.
to attain to
That's
by
good.
their life. And that's what I think I've started to pay attention to. And then I was like, wait, what am I just need to focus on mine. Like, let's just focus on mine, and I'm going to focus on God. And like, I'm really good. Like, I really had this realization the other day. Like, I really, really feel at peace with being alone with God for as long as he wants me to be. And I'm really okay with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you spent 17 years being with someone,
Yeah.
if I can even dare say this, not being at peace.
Yeah.
And
Really.
now you're in a place where you actually have like the everlasting peace surrounding you, protecting you. And so it's like, hey, let me just, have that as long as I can. And
Right.
that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I had this realization that like when you are married or when you're in a serious relationship or any kind of relationship, it's a compromise. You're constantly like working together. You're each seeing things through your own perspective. You're like communicating. It is a lot of effort and work, but it requires compromise. And what I've realized is I'm just not willing to compromise right now. And so it really isn't fair for me to ask somebody else to accept that. And I like right now I get to see and be with God in the way that I want to be, in the way I hear him, and the way I feel him, and the way that I share him, and the way I study him and learn about him. And for me to share my life with somebody else means some of those things would have to change. And I'm not willing to give
That's
that up.
right. That's
And
right.
I think he's still teaching me a lot of things. And I just feel like I just don't expect anybody else to want to be in that same season. And I kind of feel like, and maybe a little bit in a selfish way, this is the season I really get to be with God. Like that doesn't really come that often. So I just want to enjoy it and let it be.
But then, there are so many women out there, and sheesh, they want to have a relationship. They want to have that man, but they don't really want to get refined or going through the refining process. They want to continue to keep those patterns going.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
This is me, myself, and I. And I want to be able to, and I want to go back and say this, like, it's not to other people, it may be selfish, but no, like you want more. It's like you put people above you all your life. And so now it's like your season, like, no, it's me and Jesus. And I'm cool with that,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we love the idea of the relationship. And I think that's what I've come to understand is I love the idea of the relationship. I love the idea of the story. I love the idea of the identity. But the fact is then there's things inside of that. It's not, Like, it's not a fairy tale. You're not watching a
Right.
movie or reading a novel. It's life, and it requires work and effort and humility. And I think what I'm really learning is like submission. I have to be willing to submit to a man, which I'm like, I'm a super stubborn Italian. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I got this all figured out. So I'm like, so that's just not going to work.
What?
That's just not going to work for me. So, and like, I'm just starting to come like over 2.5 years of like being triggered. Like, I am 100% not going to be the submissive person of like, okay, I have to submit to God. If I can't figure out how to submit to God and really let him lead, how can I honor a husband and tell him I'm going to be equally yoked to him and I'm going to be submissive to him if I can't even do that for God? So,
or you find yourself going back into being with the same person.
Being with the same person. Yeah. Yeah. And really what I shared on that podcast as well is like, I had this a realization that if I'm going to do that, I should have just stayed where I was. And that isn't what God had planned for me. So I'm going to have to put on my big girl pants and be a big girl.
You've got to give me. You got to share this with me, KA. Yeah. Share with me your worst or horrible dating experience that you've encountered. Like, you got to do it. You got to do it.
I haven't ever like gone out on like dates. Like, I met with a couple people. My worst thing that ever happened was like, I decided to test out a dating app, and a guy really wanted to meet, and I was fine. He had a couple things in common with one of my siblings, and so I was going to meet him, and I had to reschedule. And so we rescheduled. And then I met somebody that I was talking to I liked more, and I don't have a desire or capacity to talk to more than one guy at the same time. I just don't. I don't. So I just said, hey, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm talking to somebody else. I don't really think it's appropriate. I don't feel comfortable meeting. And I accidentally sent a laughy face instead of a face. So he reported me to the dating app service as being like, not even joking. I was like,
he reported you?
He reported me. And I was like, I immediately was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to send that emoji. Like, I was actually out of town, and he was very offensive. He was very offended. And I was like, oh dear. Okay. So
oh my gosh.
Wow, that didn't go well. So I was like, I think maybe I should not do apps.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But yeah, no. So I'm really good.
Yeah. Wow, man. That
didn't go well. I was like, well, sorry. I'm so sorry. Totally start like, stuff like that. I'm just the queen of awkward. I don't know. Somehow I just managed.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Yes, that didn't go well.
That's crazy.
But that was
hey, I mean, it was by accident though.
It was. I was like, oh dear. Okay. And he doesn't have an iPhone. I have an iPhone, so I couldn't edit it. And I was like, oh my, I'm so sorry.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's not blue. I can't take that back.
But no, I actually appreciate, because you did make a post on this on your socials, but I do appreciate how you have a healthy outlook on men when it comes to divorce, because usually men get the bad side of the stick when it comes to divorce. Like, it's all his fault. It's But you just mentioned you mentioned this too in the pod, that that you have a healthy outlook of men when it comes to dating and all that. And I appreciate you saying that, because like I mentioned, from a breakup or a divorce, it's kind of like men get the bad end of the stick. Like, oh, it's all the men's fault. And, I couldn't do it with him. And it's like this stigma. And I feel for women. Now, of course, you have a positive outlook and, you do desire to get married again. But it's like, for women that don't, that have come from traumatic and, horrible, situations. It's not like that for them. And that kind of like breaks my heart. And I kind of want you to speak on the woman's stance on that of, still being refined and still trying to, in a sense, find yourself after divorce. What would be your advice to a woman that has gone through traumatic or dramatic situations in their life and they're like, I don't know if I can trust a man again? I definitely want you to speak into that.
Yeah. And actually, that's my next podcast episode. I'm going to talk about trauma healing and narcissism specifically, because that's a big buzzword. But, and my mom is a therapist. So I bounce a lot of stuff and get information from her. But I think there's a difference between understanding who you are and what you're willing to tolerate and what you deserve, and placing expectations on somebody else to give you everything that you want or you deserve. And I talk about that in one of my podcasts about like the difference between self-love and self-identity, because the truth is, like, if you don't understand or have a desire to understand what your half of the dynamic is, then you are going to just recreate that over and over again. And so, especially if you've been in a really abusive relationship, there's so much, like, specifically with narcissism, they always say, like, you don't just get a broken heart, they break your spirit. And that is something that takes a really long time to heal from, because there's so much that they do on purpose to diminish you as a valuable human. And that is really painful. And those are some wounds that maybe don't even really heal completely. But when you learn to let God help you through that, and you really need professional help when you've been in a relationship like that, you need professional help to undo the mental damage that has been done. And my mom said, for every year of a relationship you've been in with a narcissist, you need 6 months to heal, because you're undoing, 6 months for every year. So you think of half of the time, you think of that. I mean, that's a lot. That's significant, because, like I said, it's really breaks your spirit. And there's a gentleman on Instagram, I think he's Ryan Miller now, but it used to be Dude with Good News. He shares all about biblical teachings of how to deal with narcissism or how to deal with these. And what's hard with abusive relationships is they don't start that way. They are really charming and really amazing, and they do have the ability to connect, and they do have the ability to show up as a partner that you really want. And then they just slowly erode away at that. But there's also this cycle that goes through over and over again. And if you, it's crazy. It's literally crazy making. And you have to unlearn to unidentify yourself as that person in that relationship. And that is serious work for sure. And I do encourage women to absolutely seek professional help with that and to really be patient with yourself. And I think one of the most powerful things you can do is just be aware of what's my cycle and what's really my motivation between wanting to be single or wanting to be in a relationship, because there's unhealthy versions of each of those stories. And I always say the most powerful thing you can have is awareness, because you can't change something. Like G.I. Joe is my favorite. True story. Knowing is half the battle.
Right.
I quote him all the time. But you really can't do anything different if you don't acknowledge what is off. And so I think for me in my relationships, I was really willing and I still am, to be wrong and accountable for my half of the dynamic. And I think I'm still learning how to be aware of those patterns that I might continue to bring up. And I think that's part of the healing process with Christ. And that's why this season is like so powerful. It's not just like, I saw this real, it's like healing with Christ isn't just like beautiful scripture verses and journal entries. It's like really, it's really raw conversations. It's like humility. It's him pointing out flaws to you. It's him like saying, this is where you got wrong. And like, you have to now apologize and accept, like, I did these things. Like, and a lot of my research about narcissism, I was like, oh my gosh, these are little things that I learned. And one person I really appreciated, this psychologist, said, in an argument, there's always going to be contention in a dynamic, in any relationship. But anybody coming to a confrontation is never coming in their best form. And we all exhibit some of these narcissistic traits at times, but there's a difference between exhibiting them and learning from them and being aware of them, and having an actual personality disorder where you don't care. Where you don't care and you're purposely exhibiting them and you're purposely using them against the other person. And so being aware of like what that difference is, and being aware of like, am I a person who is going to tolerate these kind of things? Because as a people pleaser, you want to make other people happy.
Exactly.
You want to, and it's hard to unlearn some of those things. And learning boundaries was probably the most uncomfortable thing for me, because it meant I had to say no, and I had to stand up for what I had asked for, and that meant it made other people upset. And I was like, that is really uncomfortable. I don't like that. And so there's a big pendulum. And so no matter where you're at, and they're like, I want to be in a relationship or I want to be alone, just be curious about what's the reason why. What's the why? And we always say, like, get to a why until it makes you cry. Just keep saying why to yourself until you really get at the root and really investigate that with God. And because some people are supposed to be single, and it's a beautiful thing. And you can do so much as a single person, especially if you're unequally yoked with someone. Like, being unequally yoked isn't better than being single. So like, it's okay to take your time, but figure out you and figure out who you really want. And I think be willing to be wrong about all of it.
If being single for the rest of your life, KA, if that's God's will for you, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I really am. I've come to like really be at peace with that, because I think so. I have 5 kids. I mean, that's
Wow.
big. They're amazing. So my oldest is 18. My youngest is 6. There's a 12-year spread.
Wow.
One of them is deaf. So we so we are busy. I mean, I have them, I went from being full-time mom, full everything, to having them half the time. So half the time I'm by myself. So like,
Wow.
learning to be alone has been a really good thing, but I'm finally at the spot where I just think maybe I could accept this path that God is trying to show me. And it doesn't require me to have anyone by my side but God. So, like, why would I want someone to come in and like get me off of that path?
Right.
So I'm like, if you're willing to like come in and be on this path, or maybe you're further ahead of the path than I am, and you understand this, and you've got a vision and a purpose for yourself and your life, and it's really to do whatever God wants from you, then maybe.
So, friend, we are about to go into the last segment, and it is called Fun with Friends. And I'm going to actually have you pick a number between 1 to 4.
Okay.
And they're actually like dares. Nothing too crazy. I promise.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy. But like,
Numbers.
choose a number between 1 to 4. Yes.
2.
Ooh. Okay. This is a good one. You're gonna. This is a good one, and I am actually going to give you something to use. Okay, so 1 minute sermon challenge.
Oh,
I have to give you an object to make a sermon on.
okay, let's do it.
All right, so you're going to make a 1 minute sermon out of this guy right here.
Oh, Michael Jordan, right?
That is Michael Jordan. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and go.
Okay, so when we all look at Michael Jordan, we think about the things he's achieved, the things he's accomplished, the things that he's overcome. But what does he have today? Where do you see in his life he has changed and made an impact in the life of you and the people around you? Do you look at Michael Jordan and think he got it all figured out and he got it all right? Or do you recognize that he lived an amazing life, challenging himself and missing out on who God really had for him to be? Give yourself some time to think about. Paul, the new creature, you are the creation of God, and God created Michael Jordan to do something amazing. He is an example, but is he the example of the life you really want to live and become?
Wow. And that was under a minute.
Woo! I didn't get a scripture officially.
For real, no, thank you so much, K.A., for coming on and for your yes and for your testimony, your Genesis. Like, I appreciate you, and I'm sure that other people that will watch and listen to this, they will be blessed and edified. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun getting to chat with you. We absolutely have to do it again. You have been listening to Beyond Believing with Katie Ann. If you have enjoyed any of what you have heard today, if anything I have shared has helped you in any way, please take just a very quick minute to leave me a 5-star review or rating on your podcast platform of choice. I share all of this content with you for free so you can have it. So if you can, in turn, let me know how you have benefited from this. And if you would like to hear me share about a specific tool or struggle you are experiencing in your post-divorce journey as a Christian woman, please contact me. I would love to hear from you. And if you would like to hire me to speak at an event or work with you, please reach out to me at the email in my show notes. Thanks for listening.